All right, I guess we can start already. So welcome everyone to this webinar. I'm Lucas from Prewave, and I will be joined with Vincent and Emilia today. And we are going to discuss, as we can see, supply chain transparency, supply risk management, and direct supply collaboration. As you know, as procurement and supply chain organizations are extremely compelled nowadays to stay ahead of risks, we will dwell into the art of mitigating these risks. And we are going to step by step explain how solutions, let's say, can power and mitigate risks. So the webinar will be recorded. At the end of it, you will receive automatically a link with the record. Approximately, it will last 45 minutes. We will have a Q&A session in the end. So should you have any points that needs to be enlightened, Nori will be there for you. So I'm quickly going to present the two, let's say, speakers of this meeting. So we will be joined today by Vincent Roth, Senior Channel Manager at Prewave, and Emilia Jevakhoff, CEO and co-founder of Winddle.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, guys. Yeah, I guess Emilia, short introduction from ourselves, right? So I would start. My name is Vincent Roth. I'm Senior Channel Manager at Prewave. Nice to meet all of you. In this position, I'm responsible for global partnerships, which is why I have come together with our new partner, Winddle. Pleasure to meet you all.
And on my side, so as Lucas mentioned, I'm CEO and co-founder, and I'm more operating on the sales marketing part. And so that's why I'm the point of contact for the partnership with Prewave. So thank you, Lucas, for your introduction. And I think we can start with a very brief introduction of what does Prewave and Windle do.
Exactly. Very brief in the beginning. We will go much more into detail later on, and see the connection also between Prewave and Winddle. But first of all, just a few sentences from Emilia and myself. So starting with Prewave. Prewave is a supplier risk management platform and classical software as a service company founded in 2017. Some numbers, our HQ is in Vienna, in Austria. Currently, we have exactly 200 employees as well as more than 200 clients. And we are currently growing strongly in all European and soon also global markets in our growth and expansion phase. And yeah, we also have recently opened another office in Paris, in France, and always happy to welcome some visitors. Emilia.
Thank you. So on our side, Winddle is a supply chain collaborative platform. So we really focus on the supply chain flows execution with an objective which is simple but quite challenging nowadays. The idea is to ensure to any supply chain organization to know at any moment where their products are, to be able to anticipate potential deviations and to have the efficient mean to get actions in case of deviations in direct collaboration with their suppliers. So the idea of the collaboration from a Winddle perspective is really to connect efficiently and ensure agility and proactivity in supply chain management. We are, so the company was founded in 2015. We are working with customers in various sectors such as retail, manufacturing, or automotive. The company was awarded by several distinctions, and so we are also an SAP partner. And we have today more than, several thousand supply chain professionals connected on a daily basis on the platform.
Okay, then let us dwell into the context and consequences right now. So Vincent, do you mind elaborate on this topic?
Sure. As you could imagine, guys, the common goal between Prewave and Winddle is to make things faster and more accurate in terms of data. So the real reason Winddle and Prewave are doing this webinar together today is because, as you all know, the procurement landscape has changed. So data needs to arrive and to be managed in a simpler and faster form as globalization and external factors continue to increase over the last years. Yeah? And this is also, everything is doable with data then. Yeah? So making all this data more visible is the goal, but you need ways or tools to handle this ever increasing amount of data. And Prewave has grown so strongly in recent years because unforeseeable events have happened in the world to which a single company maybe has no direct answers directly. So the explanation of how we provide real-time risk data for our customers will come later, but the events of COVID-19, as you all know, and the war in Ukraine have shown our current customers that they need help with transparency overall and risk monitoring in order to be able to react more quickly on some risk or events.
So yes, as you mentioned, and I think it's, I mean, not a point anyone is discovering or challenging anymore. We've reached an unprecedented level of disruptions, and I think that unfortunately it's the new standard, and any organization have to consider that supply chain will be frequently disrupted. It could be from, I mean, for climate reason, geopolitical reason, like you mentioned, economical, and also often combined disruptions, which make the level of complexity even higher. If we, I mean, so you did a focus on the disruptions, and there are also, I mean, as you mentioned in your introduction, Vincent, two other categories that are participating in making today supply chain management more and more complex. There are a lot of new regulations that organizations need to comply to. And those regulations require to have data that the organization are not used to get, and so it requires a new level of data structuration and the ability to get this data and monitor it efficiently, and of course being able to communicate it, because all the topic of those regulations are linked, I mean, are related to supply chain transparency and the ability to communicate it to end customers. The third pillars, or I might say complex category of complexity, is an unprecedented level of processes complexity. Basically, we've seen that, of course, the globalization has an impact when you have several stakeholders that are on various geographies. This participate to having more complexity, more and more pressure on the supply chain. So it's directly related to the disruption, but globally the level of expected optimization on cost, timing, environmental impact is really high. And in the end, the customer expectation, I mentioned it regarding the transparency, but also on the quality of service is higher and higher. So this leads to a very new level of complexity for supply chain management, and traditional way of monitoring or I mean, processes are not adequate anymore. So the topic of this webinar is really to think about and discuss together which solution need to be implemented, and what I mean, key functionalities or key approach need to be set in the organization to be able to efficiently tackle those new category of complexity. So in regards to the new, I mean, the high level of disruptions you need to face, of course, being able to efficiently manage the risk as Prewave offer it at a macro level being able to combine geographical, economical, and climate analysis to help purchasing and supply chain organization to proactively identify risk in their supply chain strategy is key. And at a more operating level, being able to proactively identify potential deviation and risk. So it's a combination of both Prewave and Winddle approach that will help on really, addressing and tackling the disruption management. When it comes to new regulations, I think that it's clearly one of the main objectives that is followed by Prewave to be able to help any organization to properly map their supplier and ensure that there is 360 degrees monitoring at any time, which is the criteria to ensure that you can once again control the supplier base and qualify it properly. And in the end, when we mention that the processes are more and more complex, the challenge is to connect efficiently several stakeholders and to efficiently evaluate what will be the consequences of any update and disseminate this information so that anyone on the supply chain can operate and execute it properly, bringing a collaborative dimension in your purchasing portfolio management is also a key. So we'll go to all of these details and illustrate because I think it's the key point is behind those topics. The idea is really to give you a clear idea of how Prewave and Winddle can concretely change the game in your organizations.
Exactly. And I will directly jump in, Emilia, if that's okay. You mentioned the collaborative idea. And this is exactly what we do in the platform. And this is why Prewave and Winddle has partnered or recently has partnered together. I already mentioned that Prewave provides real-time risks, so data of real-time risks. But I guess you want to know how we do that. So we have developed since years. Yeah? So founding date was 2017, but also already starting it from 2012 on. We have developed algorithms that search the entire internet in hundreds of languages and dialects to find risks for certain terms. And these terms are your supplier names and addresses that you would send us directly. And imagine the partnership now with Winddle is that you wouldn't even need to send us these names and addresses because Winddle already have these data, for example. And we just don't give these risks to you in the platform, but we prioritize it first by criticality, because our AI is that strong. So that every supplier on the platform, and we have more than 1 million of suppliers in the platform now, has their own dashboard in the end. Yeah? So this is bottom right here. So the dashboard changes at your will also, depending on which risks are most important to you. This is the next slide then. We are also able to display one back, please. But not just the tier 1 risk. We are also able to display real-time risk via our n-tier mapping, as our algorithms are also able to identify connections deep in your value chain. Yeah? So after prioritization, we also mitigate all risks very individually on the platform, so that you one back, please, so that you only spend time on those incidents that were really critical for you individually. Yeah, at the end, as we are an end-to-end platform, there are also some individual reporting options, and we fulfill, and this is what Emilia also mentioned with the regulations, we fulfill many required reporting standards in the market. As the German Due Diligence Act, LKSG, other compliance acts in European or American countries, but also the ones with the highest and biggest impact, I guess also for you in the next half of decade. Yeah, so the CSDDD, the CSRD, EUDR, deforestation, REACH, ROHS, and conflict minerals, for example. As I said, it's very the monitoring itself, the data behind it, it's very individual. But from a tier 1 perspective, we cover more than 150 event types in the platform that are bundled into perspectives, so-called perspectives. We call it perspectives. It's like packages in the platform. Yeah? And the most recent ones are disruption, sustainability, from the beginning on, financial and legal, and the more and more important one, due diligence. And this is an example on how a supplier is ranked on the Prewave platform. And this data can be managed and pushed down into the data of Winddle, for example. In addition to the general score, at top, you can see it here on top right. This is the country and industry risk score, so the group benchmark. The score develops according to the real-time risk that Prewave finds out and evaluates by your supplier. This is top left. This is our USP, if you want to call it like that. In addition, the score can also be individually enriched with data, external data, so sanction list, your internal KPIs, etc. And a large part of the Prewave solution is, as I said in the beginning, we are not just giving you the data of risk, but we also mitigate it, is the entire result of the mitigation, so that the direct results of all types of assessments, for example, are directly included in the score again, so that everyone in this platform can use it collaboratively.
Is it?
Yeah, Emilia.
Good. Thank you very much. Sorry for the misunderstanding. So as a complement to Prewave macro approach on the risk monitoring, so Winddle will bring focus on the execution of the supply chain flows. So we are a collaborative platform also. I think that collaboration is clearly needed and required if you want to face efficiently the current supply chain challenges. We are offering a modular solution which is built around 3 main pillars: a supplier portal, transport management, traceability, and compliance. The idea is to be able to efficiently support any company regarding their main priorities. So any company is able to use 1 or 2 or 3 modules of Winddle. What is particularly different in our approach, because the module that I've mentioned are traditional ones. The difference is the way we are offering to connect the systems and the stakeholders. So the idea is really to have this central unique platform and to be able to connect your own system and to give access to your suppliers so that the information exchanges are really seamless and on real time. The second important element is so the end-to-end visibility. The idea is, of course, to be able to remove any information gap that you might have in your supply chain and have this unified visibility from the moment when a purchase order is placed or planned up to the moment when the goods are delivered, and at several granularities. So from a macro purchase order portfolio granularity up to the SKU granularity, so that operational teams have really the ability to update and evaluate what needs to be potentially changed in your supply chain. To be able to reach this objective, real-time and predictive alerts are of course needed. Today, supply chain and purchasing team needs to face a really high volume of data, and it's basically impossible to manage this level of complexity without smart alerts that will help to identify potential deviations. So I'm talking about delays, missing quantities, or anything as soon as possible, and to get detailed information to take the best decision and be sure that the information is well shared with anyone. So the solution is built around strong collaborative functionalities such as comments, documents, notification. The idea is not to have only a transactional approach, is really to make it useful on a daily basis. I already mentioned that the system is integrated. It's a fundamental element. And the idea is to have structured data and analytics which are really accessible to the business teams so that they can rely on it to take the best decisions. If I just zoom quickly on what makes the Winddle approach unique, it's the flexibility of the platform. As mentioned, we supply chain organization are highly volatile, changing very quickly. The processes are evolving, the stakeholders are evolving, and so any organization need to have a solution which is able to adapt to all those changes in a very simple way. So this flexibility of Winddle is threefold around a very platform which is easy to set up. I mean, it's compatible with any industry, transport, purchasing, purchase order types. A highly configurable user experience, because in the end we are talking about teams that will use on a daily basis the platform, and also easy to integrate with any external systems. And we are really offering from import, export, Excel up to API in order to be sure that the solution is totally integrated in your IT landscape. Very quickly, let me explain you which benefits you can expect from a direct connections with your suppliers as presented in the, with Winddle. First, being able to share your purchase order portfolio in real time with the suppliers enables to streamline the communication and offer the ability both to your purchasing team and to the supplier to share any updates and be sure that any system or any stakeholder that needs to be aware of these updates are to have this macro and micro visibility at pen level to measure very quickly your stock in transit, what are your detailed expected deliveries, which are the elements that supply chain team needs today to once again identify potential risk and mitigate the risks, and connect not only your purchasing team and your suppliers, but also all the teams and partners that need at a moment in their daily work to get this information. So it might be logistics teams, customer service, and so on. The objective is to anticipate and mitigate the risks. So as I already mentioned, but being able to identify potential delays, material shortage, to both work on your already placed purchase order, but also scheduling agreement to have a complete visibility and collaboration on your complete purchasing portfolio, and being able to take smart decisions at any moment. And so structuring all this information and being sure that any updates is tracked and will impact the entire chain will help you, of course, properly monitor your supplier performance. And it's typically an example of the complementarity between Prewave and Winddle. We will have information about on Winddle about the precise supplier performance when it comes to execute your purchase order, on time delivery, on time in full, their reactivity, quality, when they are collaborating on the product flows. While on Prewave, we'll have supplier general performance and scoring. And the key is clearly to combine those two more strategic and operational approaches to have this full visibility and full ability to properly manage your purchasing and supply chain strategy. And so when it comes to compliance, exactly in the same way, on Winddle, you will be able to evaluate and score your supplier on very precise, like certification documents that are required to monitor the validity dates and so on, while Prewave will help on a higher level of compliance.
Exactly. And that brings us to the, I guess, most summarized and most important slide of today. Yeah? So kind of in summary of what this collaboration is all about for you guys, for you unique users that could work on it, to be honest. So that we integrate the data of both of us, of Winddle and Prewave in the beginning. Yeah? So that Prewave is helping also the users of Winddle, of actual users of Winddle, in identifying risk on a macro level, as Emilia told you a few minutes before. And also in the broad range of compliances that appears from a Brussels, from a European Union perspective, like the CSDDD, for example. We are able, and we were the first tool who were able to have an end-to-end compliance due diligence tool, for example. And we can integrate this identification risk into data. That is our job. Yeah? We are an IT company, and we can share this data with Emilia and with Winddle and evaluate the impact then, Emilia, in your platform. So I guess if you want to take over the second part here to evaluate
Yes.
the impact then, yeah?
So clearly is to, the perfect organization is to start with Prewave risk identification and monitoring, and then be able to really evaluate the impact. So combining the level of risk with what is the impact on our current purchasing portfolio. So having visibility on the level of spend on the detailed product that are placed in this geography with these suppliers and so on, and then dig deeper into taking direct actions when there are risks that are identified. You potentially need to change or update something in your purchasing portfolio. So the idea of Winddle is really to go up to this point when you are able to communicate any change to your supplier, change your quantities, split deliveries, cancel an order, and ensure that the information is directly shared both with your suppliers and automatically shared in your ERP system. Okay, we are not replacing in any case an ERP or a procurement system. The objective is really to have this interface open to the teams and the suppliers and designed for daily collaboration, while the other systems are more designed for transactional operations. The idea of Winddle is really to gather and centralize any exchanges or any information that will need to be done for correct execution.
All right, we have seen, thanks to Emilia and Vincent, that both solutions, let's say, offer an holistics vision and also solutions to supply chain management. And now we are going to dwell into, let's say, 3 categories of benefits that the solutions is bringing, with concrete examples and also current cases from both Prewave and Winddle.
Yeah, and this is summarized operational excellence, the proactivity of data, and the risk mitigation and the supply chain performance in overall. I don't know if we said it before, but of course, each one of you, even if you didn't show up today, you will receive all the documents afterwards. Yeah? Latestly tomorrow from Winddle and from our side.
Yes. So what is interesting is to see clearly that both solutions are bringing value around each of those pillars. And so when you combine both solutions, you have best in class, and I mean you are maximizing the value on each of those dimensions.
Yeah.
So let us go a bit into concrete examples. So all the figures here and the quotations have been selected from both Prewave and Winddle customers. I have just to remind that each benefits are specific to each organization, depends what is the starting point, what are the objectives, and so on. But generally, any organization can expect value related to these 3 pillars. So if we start with the operational excellence and productivity improvement, for sure, one of the first benefits brought by Prewave and Winddle is to free the teams from time-consuming and manual processes. So when it comes to Prewave, it's more about sending questionnaires to the suppliers, analyzing the information, and so on. So the solution will bring an automatization of those processes. So we are talking about a lot of time which is saved for the operational teams. And in the same way, Winddle will help remove a lot of manual reminders, re-entry of the data in Excel spreadsheets, ERP system, and so on. So you have both examples for CarShare. It's reducing by 40 times the efforts related to supplier qualification. And you have an example from the Groupe ERAM. The implementation of Winddle has helped, has enabled to simply remove more than 10 files and reports that were used previously by the teams on a daily basis. When we are talking about automating operational and purchasing and supply chain process, the ID, so you have an example here, it enables the organization to cover very quickly and instantly 100% of your supplier risk monitoring with Prewave. One precise example of your supplier flows carbon footprint calculation with Winddle. The idea is really in any way to be super connected to the reality of their operation. So all in all, the idea, is to save time and enable the teams to focus on the high added value task. It might be to drive supplier relationship, to anticipate the risk, and to think of what would be the best decision and execute those decisions. Vincent, do you want to add something on this part?
Yeah, that is well summarized what operational excellence is. Yeah, and this is also the main idea in this cooperation, to bring this operational excellence not just at Winddle, at Prewave side, but to gather data behind each tool and to share this kind of data in a form that this operational excellence also can be used for one user, but just once, but for both tools then. Yeah, that is the idea.
Exactly.
Yeah, proactivity. Yeah, I guess it's clear. Emilia directly told it in the slide before. I mean, if you are faster in a way of on an operational basis, you can be more proactive and can mitigate more risk in less time. Yeah? This is what this slide is about. So what Prewave does is to providing risk or data in the internet way more faster. You could do it on a manual basis, in hundreds of dialects and languages and manually. This is what this is about. So the reaction time in the end, not just receiving the data, but reacting to an alerting that appears in the world, somewhere in the world. That is, for example, at Kercher, in the Kercher case study, 3 days before. And I don't have to tell you, I mean, maybe we can have an open discussion afterwards, but you guys know in your industry and in your company what 3 days means. Yeah? So let's
Each
talk
day
about
count.
each day count. Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that the quotation from Emma, so the sleep company, is particularly well illustrating our partnership. You can see the link between being able to identify and anticipate risk as a strike, and then how it will impact, and so the necessity of reshuffling your production. And so that means being able to update your plan and communicate it very quickly, so that it will not impact in the end your all plans. And in the end, both solutions are helping, of course, on optimizing supply chain performance. When we are talking about supply chain performance, we are talking about several dimensions, cost and timing, of course, but also quality and environmental impact. Once again, the objective of both solution is to centralize, structure, and ensure reliable data accessible at any time. So it has a key impact on your ability to monitor those several and different dimensions of your supply chain performance, and it will bring valuable cost savings, the ability of improving on-time deliveries, of improving your typically the level of details you can reach on your product margin calculations, and the ability also of reducing over costs that you might have on your supply chain. Supply chain performance is also helping and related to customer service level rates that each organization is able to reach, and of course streamlining your supply chain flows and risk will help to maximize your product availability and customer satisfaction in the end.
Exactly, because in the end you can react on things in the market just faster if you have the transparency for it. Yeah? We are not the tool that gives you hints on what to do in specific, operationally. You have to do it because you are the experts in your industry and in your company. But it's the goal of having the best transparency of data, and this is what this collaboration is about.
All right, thank you very much, everyone. This concludes the presentation part of this webinar. So we will start quickly the Q&A session. So should you have any points which need to be enlightened or anything that you would add to the discussion, feel free to write in the chat. And yes, like Vincent just mentioned a few minutes ago, once again, a reminder, the webinar is being recorded, and you will be sent a link with the record of the session in the next hour once it's done. So no worries about this.
And still, Emilia, I cannot see any.
Yes, I can see.
So you have to read it out.
I have access to the chat now, so I can see one question: how is your tool covering monitoring risk developing from increasing demands, capacity availability at suppliers? I don't know if it's a question for Prewave or Winddle. Monitoring risk developing from increasing demands.
I could start,
Yeah.
I guess. From Prewave perspective, it doesn't matter how big your supplier is or your company, how big the company is you want to monitor via the platform. We only use the same sources that you give us, so the name and the address of the suppliers, and we will find out some risks in the market. So if the supplier is very, very small, the chance is even higher that we cannot find anything if it's a very, very small middle market supplier. But that's the answer.
And as a complement, so I'm not sure if it's answering the question, but I share these elements. The platform will help on securing this supplier capacity. And so we have use cases, as I mentioned, we are connected to the ERP, but also connected to the planning system. So we are able to share with the suppliers the scheduling agreements and the purchasing plan, so that the supplier can regularly and on a very frequent basis see what they are supposed to deliver in the coming weeks, months, and inform their customers, and so the purchasing team, if yes or no, considering the visibility and the stock that they have, they will be able to address and meet this demand. And so once again, adding this very seamless communication, even on the plan, will help you streamline and limit the risk from increasing demands. So, with pleasure. And another question, it sounds like the platform would need to be implemented and fed by each player along every individual supply chain up, sorry, the chat is up and downstream the tiers. Vincent, do you want to?
So normally we just receive the tier 1, so the direct supplier data of our customers. So everyone who is participating today, you would just send us your direct suppliers, and we will find out risks out of it. We did not focus today on the end tier, to be honest, but just on the tier 1. But we are also able to, as I said a few slides before, to find out connections out of public available data between your direct and your indirect suppliers in tier 2, 3, 4, 5, etc.
Yeah, so you are there was a new question, Vincent, that you already answered. It's, can you provide the tier N supplier and transparency? If we provide the product and tier 1 supplier information, can you find out all the relevant tier N suppliers? So the answer is yes.
Yes, the transparency, but also if we have find out the names and the address in tier N, we can also do it the same as for your direct suppliers to find out the risks behind it then, so that you get an alert if something happens in tier 3, which tier 1 is affected.
Another question, I'm sorry, I
yeah, you have to read it out, no worries.
in any So there is another question. Obviously, Winddle requires permanent active updates of suppliers' production data. How is this ensured? Does the system generate a request for update, like confirmation of date, time, loading of a truck, which is complete? Yes, this is all the point and all the objective of the platform is to bring this dynamic monitoring of your purchase order portfolio. So when anything is needed, such as quantity updates, validation, documents, anything that needs to be done to ensure the proper execution of the supply chain flows, the platform will ensure automated reminders, alerts, blockers, so that you can identify the action and the potential blocker as soon as possible. And this is made in a collaborative way, so supplier can get notifications on their Winddle dashboard by emails. And we know that one big challenge is to enable seamless collaboration and connection with any kind of supplier. And a lot of organizations have to deal with heterogeneous supplier database. And so they can connect to the platform with a simple login password. We have also, we are developing new automated collaborative workflows through emails. That means that your supplier don't have to change massively their way of working. They simply send the information to a Winddle automated email, and the platform will automatically manage and update the information. And we are also able to connect to the supplier system. So yes, clearly we do generate customizable live alerts in order to drive efficiently the executions.
Mm-hmm.
Can you provide presentation? I'm interested in learning more about 360-degree risk view you've mentioned, particularly what sources being used and are they authentic? Vincent, this one is for you.
They are authentic because all of you can read it separately in the internet. So I will summarize it afterwards together with Lucas here in the call and give you an in summary afterwards. But everything you can access in the internet is also visible for us, and so also in our platform. So websites, homepages, annual reports, financial reports, some newspapers, online news from NGOs, static data, etc. Also social media. Yeah, but I will send you a summary afterwards. It's easier to have kind of a list than doing it here, I guess.
Okay, we have two more questions. So how open are your tools to be connected to other tools such as procure-to-pay solutions? So I think that it's the correct to answer that both solutions are offering easy way of integrations. So for Winddle, we are really starting with basic Excel import and export to any systems, from any systems to Winddle, and of course flat files, API, and so we are able to connect to any system of your IT landscape.
Same to us. Same to us. Wide range from Excel import, export to bilateral or multilateral API integration. So everything is possible.
And I will combine the two last questions, Vincent, that's for you. A deep dive question regarding Tier N. You mentioned you can provide the Tier N suppliers based on public information. Do you mean public news, or do you have access to info as bill of lading or logistics data from customs in all countries? And a complementary one, how does your platform verify the information found on the internet?
Okay, answer of question one is already answered by the one who asked this question. We also, next to public available data, so news data, we have bill of lading data. Yeah. So we can connect different materials, packages to certain customers and suppliers in this world. And please help me with the second question again.
The second one was, how do you verify the information found on the internet?
Good question. We verify it in that way that if we find something in use online, that there should be at minimum 3 sources in the internet that giving the truth that it's not a bluer. Yeah? So a single source that brings one message will never come into Prewave. You need at minimum 3 sources for it. And then there is an alert on the platform.
So there are other questions. What I suggest is maybe we will be able to come back to your more in, because I can see that the time is running. So yes, we have we'll be able to go through all the questions with Vincent and come back to you by email. And so with pleasure. So you have our contacts share on screen. Feel free to contact us to pursue the conversation. We'll be very pleased to answer your questions and discuss your particular use cases and contexts. So I mean, thank you to everyone. Thank you, Vincent and Lucas, for this co-animation. It was a pleasure, and I hope it was interesting for the audience.
Yeah, thank you also from our side, from Prewave's side. A special thanks also to both marketing teams. So hint to Lucas, it was very nice work. And for every questions afterwards, please, don't hesitate to directly contact Emilia or myself. You will get this information in the next days summarized.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Have a nice rest of the week.
Have a nice
Yeah.
day. Yes.
Likewise.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye-bye.